everybody, what's up? It is Tools from Tools 360 coming at you with a gaming review today. I'm going to be looking at Madden NFL 20 on the Xbox One version is the one I played. So Madden, of course, published by EA, developed by EA. It basically offers the same kind of good enough gameplay of the Madden franchise to get by, but lacks a lot of depth and feature of previous titles, and in my opinion is probably one of the worst Maddens on this console generation. So Madden remains the only football game and therefore it has no competition. So improvements from year to year to it are very, very small. Um, Less effort is really probably put into the development and the changing of the game every year, and probably more of the focus is put on the ratings and changing the player ratings and that sort of thing. But the actual gameplay changes very little from year to year. This year's gameplay overall is fun to play. I'll get into that a little bit more here in the future. Of course, the mode that EA really focuses on, though, of course, is the Ultimate Team. Um, it's their cash grab, so it's what makes them the money. So that's what they put the most time into. And Ultimate Team this year, I have not personally enjoyed it as much as previous years. However, they did change up some things a little bit, trying to make it a tiny bit easier for someone who is grinding to get a better team. But overall, still, if you pay money, like you're going to be way ahead, and just playing online isn't going to be fun. Um, there's very little offerings this year in the game as far as franchise mode, and for offline features for people who just want to be casual and play franchise mode and play owner mode or play the career modes and stuff. Franchise is pretty bare bones, lacks many intricate features that have been in previous games, such as restricted free agents. There's just free agents and that's it. There's not different kinds of free agents. If you want to relocate your team, you have to wait till you get a prompt in game to do so. So like the only team that can really relocate is like the Raiders, of course, once you get to the season that 2021. Um, there is a text message scenario in both the franchise mode and the QB1, which is kind of the career mode, that before every week you basically someone texts you and you have to answer their prompts, and what you say based on what you do, you get certain bonuses or you get, improvements in ratings, that sort of thing. The system is very clunky. It's basically their new addition to the franchise mode, and to me it's more of a hindrance, and it slows the game down as opposed to anything rewarding or substantial out of that. So really, playing franchise, and that's just very bare bones, very, very bare bones. That's probably a lot of people's biggest complaints, is that EA focuses everything on Ultimate Team, and the rest of the games they kind of don't care about. QB1 mode is the career mode, as I just previously hinted on. Starts you out as playing, which is cool. You start out and play in the college playoffs, so you get to pick a college team you play for. In my career mode, I picked, I think it was the Florida Gators I played for. And then you get to pick your opponent, and you go through a couple little scenarios as you're setting up your character, like a player interview and such. And then you play in the semifinal game. If you win, of course, you go to the NCAA championships where you play another team. And then there's kind of a story through the way where your star wide receiver, his brother passed away of cancer, and you really got to win the game for him, that sort of thing. The story is actually not that great. It only lasts for, like I said, the 2 games, and then once you get to the NFL, you basically, all the story goes away, and you just play a career as a quarterback. You go through the combine, and how you play in the combine and in the NCAA games determines where you get drafted. So if you'll start right away. Basically, in my career, I did 1 year and I did it on all Madden, and I won the championship. And then I started with the Dolphins, the #1 pick overall. And because all Madden is pretty tough, I didn't do so well, and they cut me after the first year and basically forced me to retire. But once you get to the NFL, it's just a career mode with a quarterback. There's no story, there's no scenarios, there's nothing. So it's just like a regular franchise. Very disappointing mode, and as opposed to the long shot modes of the previous years, it's pretty terrible in comparison. Besides the franchise mode and the QB1 mode, offline there's really nothing to play other than a quick game. You have your matchups weekly, of course, through the season, where the highlights, where you can play certain games and all that, but really not much value for someone who's playing offline and someone who doesn't care about Ultimate Team. Of course, there's ranked and unranked online matches, where honestly it's probably where I spend most of my time in these games now. The grind for Ultimate Team for me is just too much to keep up with, but I do enjoy playing ranked. And I've only played about 10 or 15 games of ranks. So Ultimate Team, of course, has more features than ever, but really you have to be a really hardcore, dedicated player to get anything of substance out of it. It takes hundreds of hours to grind up your team to get to where it could be competitive online. Because let's be honest, most of the people are playing online. Or you could kind of spend hundreds of dollars and get the best team right away, which is probably what most people do, especially a lot of people who take the game more seriously. So if you're trying to build up a team and play online and just have fun, it can be really hard to do that. So basically, you want to grind solo challenges and build your team. Like I said, it'll take hundreds of hours, but in the end, it's pretty rewarding to go through all these challenges and build up your team. They changed the solos this year to where it's a 3-star system where you can pick the difficulty and kind of pick your rewards essentially from what you get out of them. And the cool thing about this year is in previous years you had to back out to the menu to restart challenges. This year you can actually press start and restart them right away, which saves a lot of hassle and loading time and really makes the grind a little bit easier. Again, it's still a tremendous grind to get any sort of good team and all. So it has all the same game modes as well in the Ultimate Team. It's got the online play, the seasons, the weekend leagues, which you qualify for, which most people will. You get to play 25 games and you get rewards based on your record against other teams. But like I said, I went and played this recently, and then my team is pretty good. It's in like the high 80s, but everyone had players that were like 95 plus overall, and I was just getting smashed like to no end in it. So you really have to play this game the whole time and get all these high players. And another thing that bugs me is every week they come out with new players that seem to be better than the other players. Try to get people to spend more money, which is kind of very frustrating. I think FIFA and NHL and stuff do this a little better than Madden does. You also have squads where you can team up with someone and go on three versus three matches. And there's also draft champions again, which of course can be a fun mode because you're kind of drafting players as you go, and you and your opponent's team will kind of be on the same level. Again, it's pretty tough though. So, and then of course I just mentioned the revamped solo system. I still personally enjoy Ultimate Team because it's fun for me to build a team and be like a general manager. But the grind is really getting to be too much, especially in the Madden game. But it's the game mode with the most substance, and it's the game mode they want you to play. So if you kind of want to get everything you can out of the Madden franchise, you have to play Ultimate Team. As far as online play goes in the game, I enjoy regular ranked matches better than Ultimate Team. Like I said, everyone has insane teams. Online connections are very good this year, other than on the kicking meter. The timing gets thrown off a lot because of lag, and I understand that the kicking meter is very hard to do online because of the timing you need to get it down pat. Gameplay wise, Madden 20 is pretty good and fun to play. Some frustrations I have is that the QB throwing animations take way too longer. If the opponent blitzes at all, especially on like all Madden difficulty against the CPU or online, your quarterback is just going to get sacked very quickly. I do realize that I need to kind of push up in the pocket a little more sometimes and kind of find a hole and then throw from there. But every year the same plays continue to be overpowered, such as outside runs, crossing routes to the receivers, tight end crossing routes. Like the tight ends will catch anything in these games, and the blitzes, of course, are the most frustrating part. Seems like online is just people blitz and they're in your backfield in 2 seconds because the offensive lines are just horrible. The defense play, in my opinion, is still very hard to master, and I struggle with it. I'm getting a little better in my last few matches, but kind of the only way to be successful in defense is to control one of the linebackers, kind of float around and try to get interceptions and such and trap quarterbacks and all that. In my opinion, the game really needs another difficulty between All Pro and All Madden for the CPU. On All Pro, like I can have no problems. I can smash the computer like 28-0. But when I go to All Madden, it's just like the opposite. It's like every pass I throw is intercepted. Um, Maybe I just need to get better at it, but I hear this complaint the most from researching reviews and stuff on this is that there needs to be another difficulty mode. I realize that the community comes out with sliders every year too, but to me, you shouldn't have to come up with sliders. Like you should just have a game that you can jump in right away and get the difficulty that matches to what you need. The franchise gameplay was also a little frustrating. I found out there was way too many injuries. Like almost every other play, my players were getting injured, and there's lots of penalties. There's lots of holdings and face mask penalties and stuff that kind of really slows down the game and is pretty annoying. So you'll probably have to adjust some sliders there if you're trying to tone down injuries and flags and stuff. The graphics in the game this year are pretty good, probably the best the franchise has ever had, although some of the players don't really look like what they should. Doesn't really bother me too much because when you're playing on the field, you don't notice it at all. The crowds in the stadiums look great, and you get that really true NFL atmosphere, of course. The soundtrack this year, however, was one of the worst in most recent years. It is pretty much like non-stop generic mumble rap, and previous games have had more variation, and better hip hop selection as far as tracks. It just seems like every song sounds the same to me this year, and it's just like I guess that's what kids listen to these days, but it's just not what I'm into. And the commentators are still pretty horrible as always. So most of the time I end up playing this game on mute or put my own music on or such. So overall, Madden 20 is fun to play, but really lacks depth and substance. And Ultimate Team is just a grind that isn't that rewarding in the end. So overall, I'm going to give Madden 20 this year a 6 out of 10. A lot of the critics, of course, praise this game because it's EA, and of course, we all know they get paid off by EA, and that they have no experience with the franchise over the years. It's kind of they just pick a person to review the game who's never played a football game before, so of course their opinion isn't going to be reflective of what the game actually is. Overall, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. It's pretty average to me. I still have fun with it though, so I think if you're a football fan, you'll get a lot out of it. I mean, you have to. It's the only NFL game on the market. Although there are rumors that that's changing. So I did hear that there's a college game in development again, and that All Pro Football or 2K is kind of working on a contract with the NFL as well. But overall, 6 out of 10. User scores on this across the internet, the average is probably like a 4.5. So people really don't like this game that much. A lot of fans are frustrated with Madden, but for me, I still get enough out of it to be fun, and I still play it to this day from when it came out. So overall, 6 out of 10 for Madden. Thank you all for watching, and I look forward for more reviews in the future. Peace out.